Sorry. I didn't screw it on time.
You don't need to apologize.
What if you
What you need to say? No, what you need to say is you're welcome for the fucking water. Oh, that's cool.
Thanks.
I really like that.
Sunny and Ratchet, we're here to chat. Big and small, we'll chew the fat. The good, the bad, the downright wild. Life uncensored, nothing mild. Every Friday 6 on the dot. We're serving truth like it's piping hot. Hit that like, subscribe, and vibe. Join our crew, let's come alive.
Hey, I'm Sunny.
I'm Ratchet.
And today's spoiler alert, we're going to talk about Unknown Number, the High School Catfish story. So if you haven't watched it, you should probably watch it first.
Freaking wild.
Crazy. Yeah. Shocking.
So if you haven't seen it yet, just know this will spoil it for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you have it and you want to watch it, you might want to just pause this, go watch it, and then come back.
Yes, exactly. So you've been warned. So for those of you that have watched it, we're going to kind of summarize a little bit. It starts in a small town in Michigan, Beale City. And so everybody kind of knows each other. But then this couple, it starts with the girl, Lauren.
Mm-hmm.
She starts getting texts from an unknown number. And it's kind of more run-of-the-mill mean girl stuff.
Mean girl, like stupid mean girl.
Yeah, like, Owen's gonna break up with you. He wants to be with me.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
You're nothing. Stuff,
Yeah. Yeah,
which is still horrible.
it is.
Don't do that shit.
Yeah, don't do that shit. We're just saying, well, wait, there's more.
Unfortunately, there's a lot more.
Yeah. So it happens like a couple of weeks before this Halloween party that Owen's going to, that I guess his girlfriend Lauren was not invited to.
But he invited her. That's his +1.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Which should be okay.
Yeah. I just think it's a little significant because it was Chloe's Halloween party.
I don't think I caught that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which is still like, gee, money cricket. Okay, continue.
Which seems to be because there is, like, I guess, a bit of a sports rivalry between families. So, so the Halloween party passes and it seems to stop, but they both have like no idea who sent it or what that was about. But then the next school year starts up.
Hold on. I just want to make sure that these kids were like 13, 14 years old.
Oh yeah, they're very young.
They're babies.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That is significant. So then the next school year starts up 11 months later. The texts start again. And they're getting
Gross.
Yeah. Very
Abusive.
Yes, abusive, very sexual in nature. The texts to the girl are
diminishing her self-worth,
yes,
her value to society.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I one of the text messages that just like ate at me.
Mm-hmm.
Well, just one of them, because there was like, wow.
Yeah.
It was stop wearing leggings. Nobody wants to see your anorexic ass.
Yeah.
And when you know who actually sent these message, it's gonna fuck you up. It fucked me up.
Right. Yeah, because they go through all of this. The parents go to the superintendent. They go to the principal. They're like, obviously this is happening to them, somebody in the school or something, and they're seeking help because um it's really hurting the children, you know. And then they get a police officer involved after the school can't figure it out, because they did that. Like, they tried to, like, whenever there was a message sent, they were supposed to let them know so they could get on cameras and see who was messing around on their phone.
Yeah.
So I'm seeing some commentary that, like, certain people didn't do their job, but
Oh, I didn't see that. Was that like on your off of the episode?
oh, yeah, yeah. I mean, other than at the end, Chloe's parents said, like, they accused the sheriff of being incompetent. And they made a lot of accusations.
Actually, I am on board with Chloe's parents.
Oh,
If
yeah.
my child was being, because even they thought that she was doing it at some points. Like, they were going through her phones. She had no privacy. They took her phone away from her. So yeah, this Chloe chick, which I'm sure she was a bully too, in her own right.
Mhm.
But it doesn't excuse, excuse me, the things that were said to her. Or the things that were done to her because of what was, they assumed it was her.
Mhm. Mhm.
Today.
No, you're fine. You're fine. I forgot where I was though. It's okay. Yeah, so there's a lot of people that like felt like, different people weren't doing their jobs, but they also, like, a lot of them talked about a lot of things that they did and they tried to really explore and figure it out. And eventually, um and I don't know, so Chloe's father is a police officer, but I wonder, like, are they in the same department? Like, what? That was unclear because, I mean, I don't know. But the sheriff was trying to figure it out, couldn't figure it out, even though he was interviewing people that would be suspects, like a sports rival, especially because it started happening at basketball games and they both played basketball together and they hadn't,
Was it basketball or volleyball?
well, that girl played a lot of sports. She played softball, she played basketball, and maybe volleyball. So, like, they were both very athletic and into sports. Small town sports especially can get really intense.
Mm-hmm.
But they so because of the involvement of sports, I thought it was Chloe. And then they questioned her a lot because there was a lot of history and a lot of potential motive, like having a Halloween party that she didn't necessarily that Lauren wasn't invited to. It started up around the Halloween party. Owen brought her anyway because he was like, "You're my girlfriend, you're coming," despite her being kind of uncomfortable being in that environment. So there were things that made it seem like it could be her until the text got way too obvious. Like, obviously, this isn't her. But then they point the finger at Owen's cousin, Adriana, who Chloe did harass and abuse with her friends, like throwing food at her in the cafeteria, talking about her, telling people not to be.
That's what I said. Like, she was definitely a bully.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
However, even Lauren herself was, accused. Like, they thought she was doing this to herself.
Well, I mean, they were just, nobody could figure it out. So then it's like, and I think that's human nature. People start, they want to know who it is. They're like, Owen's mother kept talking about how they weren't sleeping. They were so stressed and worried and getting concerned that this person was a stalker because they were using very intimate details.
Yeah.
They were scared. And, crowd mentality, like, people start accusing and blaming. So
That's why I felt bad for Chloe. Because I know, I can only imagine when everybody assumed it was her, everybody was just like,
they're
awesome.
horrible.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe it's a little come-ups too.
I guess for me as a school counselor, I hear all this stuff and I think, yeah, it's for me when a child is super mean to another child and then they get falsely blamed for something, my thought is maybe you didn't do it, but you shouldn't be that surprised that people think you did because you laid out the footwork for it.
Yeah.
So that's my thought. But I'm not as passionate about it as you are. And I like that we're having a different opinion because that makes things interesting. But eventually the sheriff cannot figure this out. So he reaches out to the FBI, and he's a cyber specialist. So he has access. I feel like that's a thing, is like a sheriff is not necessarily trained in cybersecurity or has the ability to look into things like that. But this guy did. And so through his investigation, and he describes it in detail what he did, he was able to finally track the number down to Lauren's mother,
which is fucking crazy.
Mm-hmm.
If you have seen it, those text messages, her mama was sending that to her while telling her she loves her. There was one point that was brought up at the very end that made me think, okay, I can kind of see, like, I can glimmer a little bit, because they were talking about Munchausen.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be the first Munchausen by technology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so they were saying it was like cyber Munchausen's by proxy. I don't know if they said that, but it would be by proxy, right? Because Munchausen syndrome, you're, falsely claiming that you have an illness. By proxy, it would be the child. Like that one. What was her name? The kid that the mom kept saying had cancer and all that kind of stuff, and she didn't.
Oh, Gypsy.
Yeah, Gypsy Rose. Yeah. So that was Munchausen's by proxy. But yeah, so her whole reasoning, is that, well, her reasoning sucks, and we're going to talk about that.
Her reasoning suck ass. All of her reasons suck ass.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like, how fucking dare you get on camera and spill that nonsense? Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you go ahead.
Yeah, well, so yeah, a lot of people are just thinking, what? Because that is the first question in your mind. Who would do that to their kid? Who would do that? Especially, like, the community was shocked because she was a coach and she was involved at the school, and she was, in all appearances, to everybody, to be a really great, really involved mom.
Yes.
Except for Chloe's parents, apparently, because the mother puts in a kind of a catty remark about it.
What did she say? I can't remember.
So the parents talk about it. The Chloe's father says something about her Mike Main not doing his job, and that they thought it was Kendra, the mother, all along.
Oh.
And then the mother says something to a lot of people, because I've been reading online what people have to say about it. They're like, what does that mean? Where she was like, and I bet, I think her dad's name was Sean. Sean and Lauren are just going to play the victim in all this, like implying that she thinks they were involved.
Are they now? I mean, that makes sense, because Owen doesn't even talk to Lauren at this point. Like, in the interviews, Lauren was saying, because it was asked if they communicate, and she's like, no. I mean, like, we pass each other in the hallways, but we don't say anything to each other. And then when I went to Owen, he was like, no, I don't talk to her at all.
Mm-hmm. He said he was mad at first.
Yes. Which is understandable. It's so bad for Lauren in this situation. Like, no matter how you split this pie, she's gonna get the shit into the stick.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I would like to explore more why Owen was angry with her, though.
Mm-hmm.
I think probably a lot of people thought, she had to know.
Yeah.
It's a little suspicious. So I wrote down questions about things. And I also found out some things reading from the person who made the film and his commentary. So I don't know if you noticed, but like Jill, Owen's mother, is like going and talking to the FBI agent and providing information, but they don't say anything about searching Lauren's phone. And so the producer said later, Kendra did at a certain point stopped cooperating, wouldn't provide Lauren's phone and all that kind of stuff. And so she started kind of backtracking and stuff. And so I think that maybe there's some anger that she didn't cooperate or whatever, but she seems really, like, to me, Lauren seems very passive.
Yeah. But I think that has been ingrained in her since she was a baby.
But also she was young enough that it wouldn't have been up to her to provide her phone.
Exactly.
And so I think that a lot of people kind of look at her as not being maybe angry enough at her mother or not.
I don't think she's angry enough at her mother.
Okay. Yeah, but she's a baby. You know, she's trying to wrap her mind around it, you know. Like even with my foster child, it's like if you directly say something negative about her mother, not that I have, but her first reaction is to be protective of her mother despite all that she's been through. And I think that there's just like some of that, like she just, even the police officer tells her and she's just kind of falling into this blank, like,
I know that is.
Yeah. Like, I don't think she's one to just like jump and react and shout and cry. And I guess that's something I can relate to. You know, people mistake me freezing up for having a lack of emotion, but they don't know what's in my head. So, but also like, if you notice when the police come to the house, Kendra is like, you know, they ask if she has any other phones or anything like that. And she's like, no. But then the husband knew she did. What's up with that?
She's a lying hoe.
Yeah, but the husband acts shocked. Why would he knew she had a couple of phones?
No, the husband told the police officer she has multiple.
Yes. So he knew that.
Yeah.
Do you have multiple phones?
No, but I'm also not in IT. I mean, I just assumed it had to do something with a job that she supposedly had.
Maybe. Okay, so like a work phone. I can see that because I was like, what is up with that? Like, I don't know. I just had a lot of questions when I watched it. But yes, that's a good point that she worked in IT because I guess she did kind of have her own home work set up that wasn't actually work.
It wasn't. Apparently she'd been out of a job for a year and lied to her whole family about it.
Even the cousin was like, yeah, not sure that they had ever, but like they moved like 4 times and, you know, she like wasn't paying the bills and all that kind of stuff. And it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I have questions about that too, because as a husband who's working your ass off for things that you supposedly lost, you're like, why aren't you know, your wife isn't paying these bills. You've had to move at least once from an eviction.
Yeah, I would think after the first eviction, I'd be like, okay, obviously I need to know more about what's going on.
Yeah.
But maybe he's just kind of like a, you know, stick my head in the sand and la la la.
I mean, it seems to me that for Kendra's cousin talking and him and Lauren talking that Kendra was very controlling. Like she had controlling nature her whole life.
And that's what the FBI, I think it was the FBI guy, one of the law enforcement individuals said that's kind of what they picked up on, that she was very controlling. And I mean, that fits with the whole wanting to control her daughter out of fear.
I think that's bullshit. I think that was a bullshit excuse.
Well, I'm not saying it's an excuse. I'm just analyzing like what motivates a person to do this.
What would motivate a person to do this? Because I can't figure it out. Like there's not an ounce of me. I don't care. There's no way that I'd be able to hurt my child like that, see their hurt, comfort them, and do it over and over and over again.
Well, of course you wouldn't. I wouldn't. I'm just saying, what is her line of thinking? You know, because people have motivations, right, for what they do, whether it's right or wrong. So the motive behind it, according to her, and also, so one, she really likes attention. And the cousin talked about that she's like, she was a good person, but it's like if anybody else had attention, she would be over there dancing and making a big show, trying to get the attention on her, right? And so this provided her attention because her daughter was getting bullied. And it also it got her not only attention from the public, but it got her attention from her daughter. Because, you know, when daughters become teenagers and they start to change and stuff, it can be a tough transition for a parent. You know, they start listening to their friends more. They start having more independent ideas.
Her excuse, though, about starting this was she was trying to protect her daughter. I'm trying to remember that part of the interview of her.
But she also says she didn't start the messages, which
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
is a lie.
Yeah, nobody's buying that.
So even if she is like, it doesn't even matter. Like, she was sending these messages to her child. And one of the excuses that she gave, and I don't know if that's what you're touching on, is that she was assaulted at 17 and that trauma, she never dealt with it. And then her daughter's 13 years old, is starting to become a young lady. And she feared for that for her child, which is a rational fear. However, it is not rational to use that as an excuse. My trauma affected me so much, I now have to traumatize you and everybody around you.
So again, not that I agree with this, but I feel like what she was putting out there is that if I'm the enemy and I'm the one she's afraid of and I would never actually do it, I have control of the darkness out there because I am being the darkness and keeping her close. Shitty as hell. Shitty as hell. But I do think that that's like what she was saying.
I still think Kendra sucks ass, and not in a good way. I just like listening to her talk irritated my soul. It irritated everything about me. Like,
well, and sorry,
fine, I do it all the time.
But again, like, so I read about that. Like, they tried to get her to come onto the show and do an interview, and she didn't want to, until she got the idea that she could once again get her daughter's attention because she can't talk to her daughter and see her face to face right now. I mean, I guess she can like email and phone call, but can't see her face to face. And so she wanted to have her moment in the spotlight with the hope that she was going to get her daughter's attention once again. So
I don't think she should claim the role mother. I don't think she gets that anymore. You're an egg donor at this point. Like, you traumatized your daughter, her friend, her boyfriend. I mean, even to the point where he got a new girlfriend in a different city. She found the number to that woman's or that girl's mother and started texting about how Owen wants her. To the point where they had to break up. Like, she is mentally ill and needs to be an institution for the rest of her life away from society.
Yeah. I mean, really, at this point, she hasn't actually gotten help and gotten a diagnosis. I don't know if you know that, but
no, because she said that she didn't know she had a mental illness until now. So I assumed that she did.
Right. But like, there's counselors in prisons and stuff, right? And she was released as of August. So why hasn't she done something for herself?
Because she's a psychopath.
And I kind of wonder, so something that I read about that wasn't mentioned when they laid out the documentary. So when she's sitting in the room, the pink room and all that kind of stuff and being interviewed, that's the first interview they have with her while mom is still in jail, and it's a new thing. And then there's another interview with her later where she's talking about, if she'll ever see her mom or whatever she wants to do with that. And, her tone has kind of changed, like, that she needs to, that she hopes that her mom gets help and stuff so this doesn't all happen again. So I wonder if maybe her feelings changed when mom got out of jail and still hasn't gotten help. Like, everybody's just kind of looking at this and making their own kind of judgments. But what has she done?
Which is a good point, because one of the last scenes with Lauren is her talking about how she loves her mom the most, or more than anything, which just like hurt me so much. Like, I can feel that empathy for her, knowing that she wants this relationship with the mother, for everything that has happened in her whole life to be real, this love that she has with her mother, but also knowing that her mother is literally telling her to unalive herself.
Yeah. I mean, it's horrible, but she found out when the police came to her house, and up until that point, she was very close with her mother and believed that she had a healthy relationship. It's a hell of an adjustment.
Yeah.
So,
I can't even imagine that.
Yeah.
But if I were anybody else, like Chloe's parents, the cousin's parents, I would be furious that my child was even suspected in this, and it was you all along. Like my rage level would have been sky high.
Well, yeah, be angry at the mom.
Oh yeah, of course. But I can also see I don't agree with it, but I can see why Owen would be mad at Lauren. I can understand that. Like his whole life was flipped upside down overnight, starting like these text messages. He was traumatized too. And he cared about Lauren. And he cared about, and then knowing all this, yeah, I think that his mom was right. I think, what's the mom's name again?
Jill.
No, Lauren's mom. Kendra?
Oh, Kendra.
Kendra. I think Kendra had an infatuation with Owen. I think that's why it started. Which is sickening. That's a pedophile.
It is, yeah. And a lot of people actually have been posting, why is this woman not having to register as a sex offender?
Yeah. Talking about.
Yeah, they're like saying if she was a man, she'd have to, and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, I mean, she should. She sent very explicit sexual messages to children.
Yeah.
So
she should be on a sex registry.
Yeah. So, and I wonder if the only reason, because the only ones that she, I guess, received charges for were Owen and Lauren.
Yeah.
But I wonder if those are the only two that pressed charges, because it would have had to have been, I think, Lauren's father and Owen's parents. So I'm guessing other people maybe didn't press charges, or I don't know.
I don't know. Legal system is very confounding to me.
Yeah, it's complicated. It really is. So,
I mean, the fact that, not on this topic, but a legit pedophile is 180 days in local jail and doesn't have to register, but admitted to assaulting a child for 5 years. What?
Yeah.
What?
And, I think that comes, well, I'm not going to go down that rabbit trail, other than just to say that sometimes when you go to trial, it's really complicated, 'cause you put it in the hands of a jury, right? And so if you make a plea, then you know that they will get some punishment, whereas you're risking all or nothing going before a jury. And I think that that's kind of the motivation behind that. If you don't have enough evidence that you feel that a jury is going to say, yes, this is it, then they're doing the best they can to make there be some sort of consequence.
But I agree to an extent. And this may be something that we talk about on another episode. Most definitely.
Yeah.
But yeah, this whole unknown number and this situation, it's just baffling. And I wouldn't have watched that if you hadn't prompted me to. I'm so mad. Not mad at you. I'm mad about the situation that happened.
Right. Yeah. Well, it was Queen Bee that was watching it while I was cooking dinner. And I was just kind of casually watching until they said that it was the mom. I was like, Minch, I just stopped. I was just like staring at it. My husband, he was like, are you okay? I was like, I'm like a deer in headlights. Like, what? Yeah. So that comment, I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, I think you called me. And then like right after I found out it was the mom, I was like, what am I watching?
It's shocking. It's really shocking, and I think that there is a lot of, wanting to understand why this would happen.
And I can't ever, like, the fact that her mother was like, one of the excuses, she was assaulted, whatever. Everybody, unfortunately, not everybody, but most people. But she was like, there's a lot of people who drive drunk and they don't get caught. So if you don't get caught, you don't have a DUI. I just got caught. That was what she said. Not word for word, obviously, but
yeah, it was that kind of thing, which I think, even at my house, we were all like, what? No way. Right. Like, she's not, like, she obviously does have a mental illness. It's not an excuse.
no.
And I don't know, it kind of seems like she may be thinking it's an excuse, but she's also still not dealing with it. So, yeah. Um, I read a few interesting conspiracy theories because obviously we're never going to know the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know,
We're not in her head. We don't know.
Mhm. Like they don't know. I guess especially since Lauren's phone wasn't provided. I don't think it ever was, but
I may be wrong,
mhm.
but I do remember the police officers talking about how they got Owen and Lauren's phone, and they went through that to see if like they could figure out anything. So I may be wrong on that, but I do think
Mhm.
that they had mentioned the fact that at least the police officers had went through.
I wish I
those.
could find that then. Yeah, I think it was the FBI agent or someone who said. I don't know. Well, whatever. Y'all can fact check me and tell me in the comments if I'm wrong, because that's fine. I get things wrong. But well, like nobody really knows. Like people think that those original texts between like before the Halloween party that happened 11 months prior to things getting crazy was Kendra, because who else would it be? But it's also weird that happened and then nothing for 11 months. Like, and I don't know that we'll ever know. You know, everybody pretty much believes it's her. But I also, I read something where someone completely went on a rant with Chloe and her family. And I don't agree with this either. Just saying it's interesting to think about another viewpoint. They think it was Chloe who originally sent the messages because they did kind of have that budding relationship between her and Owen. But Owen, that all came to a stop when he started dating Lauren. She was throwing the Halloween party. She didn't invite Lauren, but he said, I'm taking her anyway. You know, that maybe she was the original one. But they said that they think that there's probably a pretty significant rivalry because parents go to it as well. And Lauren's parents were not invited. And then there's something a lot of people are talking about that the first Halloween in that small town after Kendra goes to jail, they put up a scarecrow in their front yard for their Halloween party, where it's the scarecrow has a prison suit, Kendra's face, and 2 cell phones in her hand, which, you know, a lot of people feel like the commentary they made, that action, the history of Chloe clearly bullying Adriana over time. But not in my, like, they feel like there's a rivalry and a lot of bullying that's happened between the family as well.
I can see that. I mean, some sports parents can get a little drastic,
especially in small towns. Yeah.
However, that's besides the point, because it all came down because the mom continued to do it. This all happened because mom. Everything happened. Everything that's happened to her daughter friends at that point is because of mom. Chloe is gonna have to work this out. Not Chloe, sorry. Lauren is gonna have to work this out for the rest of her life.
Yeah.
And question, does my mom really love me? Does she not? Like, I can't.
That's a hell of a place to be.
Yeah, and her mom,
especially because like some, you know, sometimes people grow up and they just all along kind of know that their parent has shortcomings, but they love them anyways. She had she and the people in her town, you know, thought she was great, thought they had a great relationship. She thought she had a great relationship. And then the rug was pulled out from underneath her.
Yeah. On live camera. Just watching her find out that her mother was the one behind all this, and her mother just like touching her and being like petting
she's
her.
Just frozen, like, she's, what?
And then when dad comes home and he's like, you need to get out, she gets up and goes and wraps her arms around her daughter. I can't leave her. Please leave her.
Yeah, like, get your filthy hands off her.
But that dad, man, you could tell he was raging.
Yeah. So I kind of was surprised the police left when he was like telling her, you need to leave so that one of us doesn't do something stupid. Like, I'm surprised they didn't stay until the mom
Yeah.
was picked up or something, but
who knows? I mean, bullying these days in general has gotten out of hand. And the excuse of kids will be kids is retarded on its own. And the fact that you've got a parent over here bullying her own child.
Yeah, it's a mess when, and unfortunately, I actually have seen when it goes beyond the kids and the parents start kind of going to war with each other, and it is unreal because parents will start making posts and doing ugly things online, and really that's kind of the picture that the person who made this film, wish I'd written down his name. The reason this film was important to him was to kind of like to tell what happened, but it's not just about Kendra being a bad mom. It's about, look at what happened in this small town. Look at how the kids handled it. Look at how the adults handled it. Let's learn from this.
So what are some lessons that you caught from this? I mean, you might already know this because, you deal with this stuff on a daily.
Oh, yeah. So like for me, it's like I'm reading through this and I know that like, so for me, there's a lot of practice staying neutral and listening to the facts because tell you what, middle school girl drama, they're all right. Like you should like the things that teens say online to each other. They're horrible.
That was one thing that I was like so confused about as well is I interrupted you again.
No, it's okay. Go ahead.
Go ahead. These parents didn't take their phones away. They didn't change their numbers. Like if my child was being assaulted like this, the phone would have been changed. Like, or maybe not the phone, but definitely would have been a new number.
Yeah. I think if like, because they were saying they wanted to catch the person, my thought would be to keep the phone, get a new line, give the kid a new line so you still have access to them and see if the text messages start up again.
Yeah.
But keep the old one. I've had a situation where I was made aware of that a student, there was a predator that had started sending her messages on Snapchat. And so we had to take precautions, but the police also kept the phone to try and message back and forth and catch the person, make plans to arrange. So like, why wasn't that turned over to,
That's a good question. Why
like,
wasn't it turned over?
Yeah. Like get your kid a new phone. Obviously, in this case, we know that it would have started up again, that they wouldn't have been safe from that.
But then if she had this many numbers in her contacts on a new phone, then that would be easily able to, unless somebody else, I don't know. What do I know? I'm just saying.
I see their thinking, but I do agree that there would be different ways. Like, so for me, like, so it is hard, like, so I see with Queen Bee, I see that people are really mean to her online and post things on social media. And she already has these accounts and everything. She came to us with all of this. But I want her to have a phone and still have connections to, all her friends and family before she came to us. So it's kind of a difficult area. I try to comfort her, try to give her advice of just, when they're upsetting her, like, don't look. But then our younger Sweet Pea, she doesn't have social media, and it's a good thing. In 7th grade, still doesn't have social media. And I don't think that so Speed Racer, it's a little hard to say because, divorced and his father had like I paid for the phone. He had the parental access and an account, like an Apple account for my son. But, I definitely wasn't a fan of social media. At least not till it's age appropriate. Like, you're not even supposed to have a lot of these apps until you're 13. But,
Yeah.
you know, and like these parents, they'll come in and they'll find that their kid has these apps, and then they also create a bunch of anonymous apps and all that kind of thing. And it's like they had no idea that the kid had downloaded it. So it's really hard. Like, you definitely, so like the younger daughter, if she wants to add an app to her phone, it immediately will alert a parent, and they will see what app the child wants to add, and they have to okay it before. But there's just a lot of parents that they don't even know, you know. So definitely being aware. If you are in a position to delay social media, definitely do that. Like, maybe in high school, maybe.
That's when they're meanest.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Like, middle school kids, oof, they are mean, and they don't know, they don't know enough about what they're saying. I don't know. I just think that maybe in high school, if your kid has a good head on their shoulders and, knows how to kind of set boundaries and that kind of thing.
I was watching this video about AI,
Mm-hmm.
and this girl, she's in college, and she was talking about basically all of this, not the subject, but about kids and phones. So sorry. She was a teacher. She loved teaching because she has kids that they don't want to learn how to. She used resumes and I forgot what else. She gave a couple different examples of kids don't want to learn this stuff because they have AI now. It takes 5 minutes for them to generate a resume, and they don't care to learn it. So it's frustrated her to the point where she's just left teaching because the parents don't care.
Yeah. I definitely have my own views on AI in education and how it should be used in partnership to prepare kids for the future, but also still reinforce those skills. But I don't know, just my thoughts on like the social media. Like, you're supposed to be 13 or older for a reason. And the most drama I see is with 5th graders. So like 10 and 11. So like, you just got to be on your toes as a parent. Like, does my child need a cell phone? And if they do, delay the social media as long as you can. Like, set those parental controls where they can't download those apps without you. Like, just really be aware. Some kids will be sneaky and they'll find a way anyway. But you can still make your stand and say, no, this is not what I want for you, and this is why. Because the kids that get involved in like these social media groups that I've seen, it's like sometimes they'll start talking about a kid who doesn't have social media, and it's not right and stuff, and we have to deal with that. But the kid without social media is like, oh, I haven't seen a thing.
It doesn't affect me.
Yeah. Like, so they don't have to see the exact details of those ugly words,
Yeah, and I think we just need to get it through. I would say kids, but I'm gonna bring that back in. Everybody, including myself, because I've definitely got a mouth on me. But we just need to be nicer.
Yeah.
In general,
no more witch hunts. Like, which I think is a lot of like that happened with Chloe and with Adriana, and even with Lauren, some like, because they were on a witch hunt because they were tired, sleep deprived, upset, angry, scared, and they were letting it take over.
Yeah. I just don't think I would let my kid have a phone if this was happening. Be like, I'm so sorry. This sucks. You just don't have a phone right now. Me personally, the only way that I could think, like, I'm not going to figure this out. Please haven't figured this out. I don't know what's going on. So you just don't have a phone right now. It's not you. It's just how things are right now.
I'd be the parent that gave them a new phone and tried to catch them by, continuing on with that phone.
I mean, honestly, I'd be like,
I'm going to track you down, motherfucker.
Changing numbers and stuff like that. But at the end, I probably would have just, I don't, you're suffering because of this, so I need this phone.
Yeah. Yeah. I get them a new phone, and with that one, just definitely make sure there's a lot of parental locks and stuff on it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So be nice to people. Be nice to your kids.
Right. Go home and hug them.
Go home and hug them. Because there's a lot of bad shit out in this world.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't hate it coming from home.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Who was it? I think Mother Teresa said this, that if you want to change the world, start by going home and loving the family.
It's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So close off your babies.
Yeah.
Just shouting into the void.
Just shouting into the void.